So let's get into some examples. Let's start with prisms first. Bring up your surface area formula for a prism, and now we got to break this down. The B part represents the area of our base. Well, what kind of base do we have here? Again, identifying the bases, the two congruent parallel faces. These happen to be rectangles. So we need to replace the B part in our formula here with the area formula for a rectangle, which, if we go back to the notes, the area formula for a rectangle is base times height. So what this is going to look like is surface area of this rectangular prism will be 2 times the base times the height of our rectangular base plus the perimeter of that rectangular base times the height of the prism. Let's go ahead and substitute all those pieces here. Surface area is 2 times base and height of our rectangular base, which is 7 and 8. 7 times 8. Plus the perimeter of that rectangular base, which, to find perimeter, you got to add the 4 sides up. Well, if this is a rectangular base, opposite sides are equal, so we're going to add together 7 plus 8 plus 7 plus 8. Then we're going to multiply all that by the height of the prism, which the height of the prism is the perpendicular distance between the bases. In this case, it's 12. And there you go. Everything's plugged into the formula. Now you just need to carefully work this out. 2 times 7 times 8. 7 plus 8 plus 7 plus 8 comes out to be, we're going to multiply that by 12 here. So 2 times 56, 112, which happens to be the area of the two bases, right? Happens to be the area of the two bases, plus 30 times 12, which is 360. Add those together and you're going to get your surface area of this rectangular prism. 472. Now when we label area, it's always in units squared. So this is 472 square feet there. All right? Let's try another one. Here we have a triangular prism now, which they made it a little bit tricky on you guys. You'll see why in just a second. Let's bring up the surface area formula again. Our base, like I said, triangular prism, so we're going to have to replace the triangular, the B here, with the area formula for a triangle, which is half base times height. Let's go back and replace that with what it is. Plus the perimeter of that triangular base times the height of the prism. All right, let's plug in what we've got. Surface area 2 times 1/2 base and height of that triangular base. Going to be 3 and 4. One thing they didn't note, that's a right triangle. Therefore, 3 and 4 are the base and height of it. Plus the perimeter of the base, which means we have to take the 3 sides here and add them up. Problem being, we don't know this third side, and there's where the trickery comes along. But if you remember back in chapter 9, the very first section, something called Pythagorean's theorem, any right triangle, if you have 2 side lengths, you can figure out the third using Pythagorean's theorem. A and B are the legs, which in this case, and that could help us figure out what our missing side length is over there. To get an x by itself there, you have to take the square root of both sides, which the square root of 25 is 5. So please keep this little side step in mind. You might have to do that on some of these problems. So our third side length there is 5. Now we could find the perimeter of our base. That's going to be, and I'm just going to do the math. It's 3 plus 4 plus 5. I'll plug it in here. And then take all of that and multiply it by the height of the prism. What is the perpendicular distance between the two bases here? 3. And there we are. Let's work this out. Half of 2 is 1, so this just leaves us 12. Plus 14 times 3, which is 42. The surface area of this triangular prism is going to be 54 square inches. There you go.